Debt is a lot more common than most people realize. 20% of American households spend more than they make. It is also possible to break free of debt. No matter where you are, there are some habits you can develop to help you live debt-free. Pay down your existing debt as fast as possible. Pay with cash when you can. Stash cash for emergencies. Ask yourself if you really need to purchase something, and take some new tactics to earn more if you can. Learn more about living debt-free at stcumoney.org.
Welcome to Let's Talk Spokane, where host Ryan McNeese seeks out and discusses the latest on a variety of hot local topics. Now, here's your host, Ryan McNeese.
Well, actually, it's Kent Adams sitting in for Ryan.
I want my money back.
Yeah.
I just promised Ryan McNeese.
Well, as you can see who my guest is, it's Rob Harris. He goes by several names, but we'll call you Rob here, okay?
It's a professional setting.
I've known you as something else, right?
Robbie. Yes,
Robbie,
you can say it.
Yeah, that's what you grew up with, though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, all your buddies from school and everything will know you as Robbie.
Yeah. And throughout the years, I would try and transition to a grown-up name, and it just never stuck.
Yeah. You
realize, and to this day, I mean, my friends and family, I'm Robbie. But
okay.
But I was told by my professor going into broadcast, that's not going to feel so professional on TV. So,
Rob Harris. Do you feel professional now?
I pretend to be professional.
Oh, okay, good.
And fake it till you make it, right?
Yeah.
That's what they say.
Well, it's called acting, right?
Exactly.
I met you about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
It's just about 3 years ago when you were at that little school over here, Gonzaga something?
Gonzaga.
No,
not Gonzaga.
Yeah, I know.
Gonzaga.
And you graduated from there like the following year, didn't you?
2015.
Wow. Has it been that long?
It's been that long.
Wow. Okay. So let's go back. One of the things we try to do here is to kind of just to get to know people and talk about, you have some roots in Colorado, don't you? That's where you grew up.
I grew up in Colorado. I was born in Wyoming, but I moved out when I was very young. I think just after first grade.
Okay.
So grew up in Colorado, Fort Collins, Colorado.
Yeah.
That's where my immediate family still is.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And you've got a sister there with a baby, too.
Yes. And actually, I just was FaceTiming her yesterday.
Yeah.
And her first wave of her life was to me through FaceTime.
Oh, fun.
So
Did you keep that?
I know.
Oh.
I was not rolling on my FaceTime, unfortunately.
Oh, I'd have to get her to
it's
do
my
it
word.
again.
Yeah, exactly.
It's your word.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Journalist. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Your word. Okay. But you went through high school and everything else there, and then you weren't going to go to Gonzaga originally, were you?
No.
What happened?
I had put down money at CU Boulder, the University of Colorado in Boulder. They had a journalism program, and to me it was kind of nice because it wasn't my hometown.
Right.
Boulder's like 45 minutes away from.
It wasn't around the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, compared to Gonzaga, it is. Yeah. But I thought it was a fair enough distance away that it was still leaving home, but it was close enough.
Okay.
They had the journalism program. And then I think it was like April 28th or something, before the May 1st deadline, and we see on TV that CU Boulder is phasing out their journalism program.
Okay.
So we call up, and I'm very
and verified
honest, it, and they said, "Oh yeah, but don't worry, like your class will still be there. You'll be the last class." And so, to be fair, they were offering me what I was paying for, but to me, I didn't want to be a part of a program that was being phased out.
Yeah.
So I put down money at several other schools, including Gonzaga.
Uh-huh.
Came to visit after the deadline had passed, so that's why I had to put money down beforehand. But I'd had cousins that went to Gonzaga, so I was somewhat familiar.
Okay.
They had a dog named Stockton growing up, so I knew about Gonzaga.
Okay.
And just came to campus and fell in love. So
Yeah. So you graduated from here in broadcast journalism. Is that the kind of the school?
I think it's technically called integrated media. But I was within the broadcast.
Welcome to the 21st century.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. And also political science.
Okay, because you have an interest in politics and all of that, don't you?
Yes, although I will say, when I was entering school, I knew I wanted to be a political reporter.
Okay.
And I no longer know that.
Oh, okay.
I still find politics interesting, but it's just so
You're afraid
toxic.
to get caught in the swamp? Is that?
Yeah, exactly.
Literally,
especially when it's being drained. I don't want to be in anything being drained. No, but it's so toxic right now.
This is going to be a serious conversation, I can tell.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so you graduate, and What then do you do with your degree? You have this certificate that you graduated from Gonzaga University, and what happens?
I go immediately down to San Angelo, Texas.
Okay.
Not San Antonio.
Yes.
San Angelo, Texas.
Yes.
For people who work in broadcasting, you've heard of market sizes.
Yes.
So they go.
You don't start at the top five.
You don't start in Market 1, New York. I did not make it to Market 220. It's somewhere in Alaska is the lowest market. I can't remember where it is. San Angelo is Market 195.
Okay.
So that gives you a sense.
Yes.
And Spokane is
because I think we're like 73 or something. Or 74.
Yeah, it moves each year. We're in mid 70s.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Wow. So okay, you start down there.
Yeah.
And some of us are following you, seeing your set, which is all green.
All green screen.
Okay, so you don't really have the traditional desk and things like that, anchor desk that you see in most studios, like you might see on CBS News or something like that, right?
Right. And that was budgetary mostly.
Yeah.
But I will say though, I like that. I find that some people, especially when they're starting out and they're still learning the ropes,
yes,
they get behind a desk, they kind of assume this Walter Cronkite syndrome because they.
You even know who Walter Cronkite is.
You know who Walter Cronkite is. Yeah, but I think it puts you in this persona, and you shouldn't be trying to be anybody else.
Right.
And so when you don't have something in front of you, you kind of have to be yourself. It's the same reason in speech class they wouldn't let us use a podium. It gives you something to kind of hide behind.
Yes, it does. It gives you that crux, if you will.
It does.
Yeah.
So once you kind of gathered your confidence, then you can sit behind the desk maybe.
Okay.
Right?
So down there, you're most of the time out in the field doing reports and so forth. I understand it can get a little warm during the summertime.
It can.
Yeah.
The first day a little bit.
Yeah.
Like 110. No big deal. The first few days I was there, I was wearing a suit. I wanted to impress. And my boss, Bob King, called me in and he said, buddy,
get real.
I really appreciate the attempt. It's noted that you were trying to be professional.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
Because when you're in a 3-piece suit or whatever in 110-degree weather, I mean, I was just
you're all wet.
Dripping.
Yeah.
And I just sweat standing. Like I'm just unfortunately blessed or unfortunately cursed, whatever the phrase would be. So, that was not a good thing.
Okay. So tell me down there, what did you learn? I mean, you learn a lot in school. I understand.
Yes.
We've got a great program here in Spokane at GU. I assume you still agree with that, right?
Completely.
But then there's the getting out in that real world.
And by the way, my professor Dan Garrity, he's the first one to say that he's preparing you to learn on your first job.
Yes,
because that's where you really
And that's, I think, true for almost any profession.
Totally.
Really, you can learn the books, you can practice. But when you get out there, it's the real thing.
Exactly.
Exactly. Deadlines are real.
Yeah, the deadlines. That's a big thing.
You can't lose your homework.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't have a deadline.
I know you never use that excuse.
Right. Exactly. So deadlines. That's huge because all of a sudden, with GUTV, we'd be doing cool shows, but we'd have 2 weeks to do it.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I had to do 3 stories in one day in a small market. And the other thing about a small market is I was primarily a reporter, but I was also a fill-in producer and a fill-in anchor. I filled in on the audio board sometimes. It's a small staff, so if one person calls in sick, everyone else is getting picking up the slack. So I'm a better reporter.
Is that good or bad?
100% good.
Okay.
And I've actually coached some fellow GU grads who are saying, where do I want to start my job? If I got an offer from a big market, would I take it?
Yeah.
And I advised against it because I think there's so much to be learned from being in a small town market. First of all, you're going to mess up your first time on air. You're just going to do it.
But you didn't, did you?
Never.
Okay.
Yes, I certainly messed up on air. And if it's a smaller market, there's just less pressure.
Yeah.
You still want to be doing your best, but there's a few hundred people watching.
But you're not going to be forgiven as much in a major market like a Seattle or a Denver or somewhere like that.
Definitely.
You're just not going to be.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And, I think at the time it was kind of frustrating to have a story idea for a day and get the call and say, well, actually, you're going to be in the booth as a producer today. But I can unequivocally say I'm a better reporter having produced. Because now when I'm out in the field reporting and I'm late or I'm doing something with the camera that's messing with the audio, I now know what I'm doing to the people in the booth. I know how I'm messing up my producer.
There.
And likewise, I've said to my producers, I would love for you to go report for a day.
Yeah.
Because then when you're in my ear saying, where are you? You have 30 seconds.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you understand, oh, you have a million things going on in the field.
You're not just standing there waiting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think it's good for everyone to see all parts of the job, and that's something that a small market really offers you.
Yeah. So then all of a sudden you saw an opportunity to come back to GU country.
Yes. Well, I'd been speaking to Noah Cooper, the director at KREM, throughout the whole time I was in Texas, actually.
Okay.
Because I met him at Gonzaga. He would come in to talk to our class about
Okay.
different subjects. And so I would just send him
You
links.
were polishing his shoes and everything else, right?
Exactly. Hello, Mr. Cooper. How are you, Mr. Cooper?
Oh,
No, he goes by Noah. He's great.
I know.
But anyway, I just been sending him links, just saying, hey, I just done this story. Can you just give me some feedback? And he would say, this was great. This is what you need to do differently.
Okay.
Why'd you do this? That felt awkward. He's very honest, and that's what I needed.
That helps, doesn't it?
Completely.
Yeah.
It does not help to just have someone say A+ champ.
Yeah.
So he gave me really good feedback, and then eventually he said, oh well, I have a position opening up. Would you be interested in applying for it? And I was very interested in applying for it. So yeah, and then here I am now.
Wow. Okay. When you get that feedback, how important is that really? That really is. And I'm going to work on that the next time I'm out.
Totally. Although I will say that if you ask me what exactly he said or what exactly Dan Garrity said, I probably couldn't tell you.
Okay.
But when you ask 3 or 4 people, I start to see this theme of like, okay, I use the word like too much, or whatever it is. You see these themes kind of come out, and some advice you take and some advice you don't. And all of the people that I would solicit advice from would say, ask other people. Get a broad range of input.
Well, tell me, do you watch yourself?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Well, now I will not.
I'm not surprised at the answer because I hear that from a lot of folks.
Yeah.
That they really don't want to watch themselves because I don't know about you, but when I rarely do watch myself because I don't want to be so aware of everything, all my mistakes that I'm making, and you tend to see your own mistakes that the others don't.
Totally. It'll make you neurotic.
Yeah. That explains a lot.
Yeah, exactly. It explains a lot in our industry. No, I will say some people that never watch, whatever works for you. I have to watch sometimes.
Yeah.
But the other thing, though, is I'm, as a reporter, usually editing my own stuff.
Okay.
So whatever
So you're watching it
I've
anyway.
seen 500 times already.
Okay,
So I don't need to watch it as it goes to air.
How many times do you look at it and go, I should have done that differently, but that's all you have on tape.
Right. Yeah, totally. And also, on the morning show specifically, I always have a live aspect of my report too.
Yeah.
Well, I shouldn't say always. 99% of the time.
Right.
And so you're always going to mess up somehow going live. And if you watch it a million times, just beating yourself up for forgetting the word or using the wrong, tense of a verb or whatever happens.
Well, we're going to take a quick break. I think the question I'll come back with is, do you prefer doing recorded things or live? Okay.
Good question.
Yeah. I have an answer for me, but I'm curious about you. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with Rob Harris from KREM right after this.
Rob Curley, editor of the Spokesman Review.
We all just love the zags. Traditional would be one reporter, maybe send a photographer, maybe send a columnist. Well, now on any given day, we'll have up to 4 reporters there, a columnist and 2 photographers. To me, when you have something that has the attention and love of a community, overkill just tastes right.
Online, in print, the Spokesman Review. Subscribe to the experience.
When it comes to adding long-lasting color to your world, let Rada Paint give you a hand. It'll be a snap with Rada Paint's quality coatings, vast color choices, and plenty of painting supplies. Visit your local Spokane Rada Paint stores today, or go online to radapaint.com. That's radapaint.com.
If you're like many shoppers, you love to find a deal online. Or you shop online because it's so convenient. And you probably know thieves love to go online too, to try to steal shoppers' credit card information. When you're shopping online, you can start protecting your credit card information by investigating the website you're shopping on. Make sure the online retailer lists a real phone number and a physical address. Read the site's privacy policy and search for reviews and ratings of the retailer. You can read more about safe shopping online at STCU's financial education blog. Go to stcumoney.org. Welcome back to Spokane.
Whatever this.
Whatever the program is, let's talk Spokane.
That shows you're working too much. That shows you have too many.
We
shows.
were just talking about. No, I love the Spokane Talks live show that I do.
Yeah, there.
And
we go.
then we
It's
come
my
back, and yeah, it's your fault. It's always your fault, Rob. The question was, do you prefer the recorded segments to put together a package, record the open and close and all of that? I guess we call that a package.
Right.
Or do you prefer the live in the morning that you do most of the time?
It's a good question. I like both. A lot of people talk about the energy of live TV or live radio, live broadcast.
Right.
That's definitely real. There is like this like palpable energy that you can feel being live.
Yeah.
But having said that, I find that I get better interviews taped.
Okay.
Personally.
Okay.
And I think the reason is people who aren't they don't swim in the soup,
right,
so to speak. Just something about being live just makes them more nervous.
Okay. Good point.
And so if I can tell them, oh, if you mess up on your words or if you forget the thing, I can cut it out and don't worry about it. I usually never have to do it.
You're right.
But because they're not freaking out about being live, they just relax and they actually give a better answer than they might have if they're live. Because if someone stumbles on their words live, even a tiny little thing, I just see
it's pure panic.
Just deer in the headlights, and then they freeze up, and then all of their answers after that are awful. So that's why I actually like my morning show gig, because
it's a combination.
Exactly. I can interview someone the day before, edit it together, but then talk about it live the next day. So I'll be with the anchors and say, oh, one thing I didn't put in the package was Joe Smo said blah, 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 blah. And so it kind of has that.
That makes it really current, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because things change.
Overnight, If something new develops or something, then I can add to that, but still have that taped.
So you came to Spokane. You are the morning reporter on KREM.
Mm-hmm.
Have you gotten to anchor yet?
Not a KREM.
Not a KREM.
San Angelo.
Okay, well, so we need to call Noah and
yeah.
talk to him.
Yeah.
Okay, this will probably kill that idea totally.
Yeah.
But you have a routine that is totally different than probably 90% of the public out there.
I don't have human hours. No.
No, you don't. Because you've told me before.
Yeah.
Tell me your schedule.
Well,
starting with evening, and what is your night bedtime?
My bedtime is, well, I would aim for about 6:45.
Yeah.
That gives me 8 hours of sleep. That doesn't usually happen. But I'm pretty good about being in bed by 7:45.
Okay.
So that would give me 7 hours of sleep because my alarm goes off at 2:45 in the morning. I have to be in the office by 4 at the latest.
Okay.
So that gives me time to...
Because you're live at 5, right?
Live at 5.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, the show starts live at 5.
You're
I mean, albeit some
right
after 5.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm at the top of the show.
Yeah.
I would say...
a fire or something major, yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
So, I got to be in and ready to be live by 5 a.m. So...
And then you don't just go home at the end of 7 o'clock or 9 o'clock because you're doing the second show till 9
right.
On
CW.
CW.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't get to go home right away, do you?
No, and this is the one thing that I wish everyone understood about broadcast.
Yes.
Is how long it takes to edit something.
Yes.
For every minute of TV you see, hours of work went into it.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone realizes it. And good.
Because they can all do it at home on their phone.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But also I've heard it said that in TV, if you did your job right, no one will notice.
Okay.
People only notice if something feels clunky. So if I'm able to edit this thing and it feels really smooth and 2 hours, or I'm sorry, 2 minutes just flew by and didn't realize it.
Right.
That means that I did my job right, and it probably means I put in extra time.
Yeah.
So, for my 2-minute segment that will air each morning, I was probably working for 4 to 5 hours at least the day before.
See, we have the luxury here of doing half-hour programs, so we can have, like we're doing, about 26 minutes or 27 minutes of conversation. And it's much tougher to put together. People would think maybe, well, it's easy. You only have to do that for 2 minutes. Yeah, but you got to tell a whole story in 2 minutes.
Well, and I wish I could remember the historical figure. I think it's Thomas Jefferson, but I may be wrong about that. But the quote is, "I'm writing you a long letter because I didn't have time to write you a short one."
Yes.
The idea is that it's much easier to just talk for 5 minutes about something than it is to tell a story in 2 minutes.
Right. And get it all right and be fair to everybody and all that. question now, because I know you'll start to anchor here in another week or two. What's been your favorite story so far?
Ooh, favorite story. I don't know if I have an answer to that. If you ask me like favorite, if you ask me like my favorite interview I've ever done,
Okay.
it was a mom down in Texas.
Okay.
Her son had committed suicide,
Oh.
and September is Suicide Awareness Month.
Okay.
And so I talked to her beforehand, asking like, if we do the story and we can talk beforehand, would you be willing to,
You
what
gotta
you
be
learned,
really
and
super
also
sensitive and everything else, don't you?
yeah, and she came to bat. I mean, that's the other thing is, she could have sat there and talked about how sad it was. We all know how sad suicide is.
Yeah.
She really was honest about her regrets and trying to forgive herself for
Right.
the signs she missed and all those things. And so I think, that's an interview that will stick with me forever.
I'll bet.
But then on the other side of the spectrum down in Texas, I had a series called Rob on the Job, which was the exact reverse of that. It was me trying to make a pizza and failing, or trying to be a, what's the politically correct term for a garbage man?
Yeah.
Whatever that is, and failing at that.
Yeah.
So I loved Rob on the Job. Here in Spokane, see, I want to be a little more guarded about the stories I've done in Spokane.
Okay.
Because I don't want to pick a favorite here yet.
Okay. What has been your biggest surprise on live TV? We all have one.
I know the answer to this question.
Okay.
I was
Good.
down in Moscow, Idaho,
Okay.
and it was a serious story. It was there was an explosion in their science department,
Mhm.
a rocket experiment
Okay.
gone wrong, and 4 students ended up in the hospital.
Ooh. Okay.
As we were talking about before, my mornings start very early, so I was there mid-yawn, and they took my shot. I didn't realize it. My light wasn't on. I didn't know if my mic was hot or not, but I just heard in my ear, "You're hot." And so I just deer in the headlights, and then for some inexplicable reason, I thought it would help to run towards the camera to turn the light on,
No.
which is not what I should have been doing.
No.
So for about 3 seconds, which is an eternity in
Yes.
television,
On live,
you
yeah.
just see me mid-yawn, realizing what's happening, and running towards the camera. In the most awkward.
But you didn't trip or anything.
I didn't trip, although I was like waddling sort of because I was in this huge park. It was super cold outside.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that was my biggest surprise.
Oh, you're going to send us that video. Right?
It's on my phone. I don't know if I'll send it to you.
We're going to have to start recording them every morning.
Yeah,
And then hold that
exactly.
against it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. What do you want to do next? What's next for Rob Harris? You'll probably be here for a couple of years, I would presume. I kind of happen to know where you'd like to be at some point in the future. So talk about that, but anything in between.
Yeah. Well, I think if I could be closer to family in Colorado someday,
Yeah.
I would jump at that opportunity.
Yeah. And by the way, I want to point out here, people should go to your Facebook page and see a very special about a 5-minute segment you did on Father's Day, because I don't know how many know this, but you lost your father in January.
Yeah.
And he was very ill for a while and so forth. And you talked about missing him, but also the past Father's Day where we tend to not celebrate them maybe as much as Mother's Days and things like that.
Yep.
And I saw it as a lesson to remind all of us to talk to people we care about.
Totally.
And not wait till it's too late.
Yeah.
And so it's a beautiful story done just sitting there, if you will, at Gonzaga.
Yeah.
Your favorite place.
My favorite place, yeah.
And so you could feel comfortable to tell that story. And I would encourage people to go see that, because
I really appreciate
there's a
that.
lesson to be learned there.
I really appreciate that. And
it takes some guts to sit down and do that, Rob.
Yeah, I think I had to think about it for a little bit, but I will say that the outpouring of support has been amazing.
Yeah.
I was telling you before that things can be pretty, how should I say, divisive.
Yeah.
Now, I can say good morning and someone's going to be mad.
Yeah.
But with that, I just really had so many people from the community, and actually just in random parts of the globe, just writing me and saying,
you had something like 50,000.
50, I think like close to 55,000 maybe or something.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm proud of it, and it's just it was so nice to hear from other people. I'm not a big crier, like through my dad's whole sickness and even passing. I could count on one hand.
Yeah.
The number of times I've cried, but after I posted that and getting those responses back, I was the weeping willow. You know, and in a really good way.
But I think it was probably good for you,
Totally.
clearly. But I think it was good for the 50,000 people that have seen it and experienced it too. And you and I talked about some things to tell people before they go.
Yeah.
You know, that we need to start. I'm trying to do that, you know, with people that I've known for a while and so forth. But let's get back to where you're going.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good question. What I really love to do is interview people.
Okay.
So I understand the value of telling people about the house fire or whatever's happening downtown. I get that. I like sharing that information.
Right.
I love talking to people about it later.
Okay.
So if someday I could...
Is that because you're curious?
Yeah, and I think if anyone has seen my live performances, I use more pause words than I should, and I think out loud, you know, things that probably most seasoned reporters don't do. But what I really cherish is just human to human interaction and communication.
Right.
So if I could do that in a way that I had a little more time, and maybe rather than having 2 to 3 minutes, if I could have 20 to 30 minutes.
Okay. Like a half hour or an hour syndicated program or a national program?
From your lips to God's ears.
Yeah. Yeah. And for the folks that don't know the story, because you told me this a few years ago, that's what you'd like to do.
Yeah.
What have you promised me?
That you get front row tickets to
the
show.
And when I saw you for the first time after a year or so of being gone, you remembered that.
And you remembered to remind me.
Of course. I'm going to point out all the crazy things, okay?
Of course.
Rob, we could have gone on for another hour, and this is fun. I admire you as a person, number one, for what you do. Number one, you're crazy to get up in the morning, but I understand that you're young. You can handle that. I think you turned 25 this fall, don't you?
Well, yep.
Oh, wow. That's really old.
Yeah,
I've got grandkids that are about your age, okay? I wish you the best, and I encourage people to watch in the morning because what you are is real, and that comes across. And in Spokane, I think that's terribly important, that we don't want to see the polished. We want people to be, you know, normal, if you will, but we want people to be real because when we watch that tube in the morning or whatever time of day it is, those are the people that we see later in the grocery store. Yeah. And we want them, you know, to say hi and to be real. And you come across that way. So I think that's great. You got a great start. Well, Thanks for coming on today.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for watching Let's Talk Spokane. We'll see you next time. Take care.
Let's Talk Spokane is produced in Spokane, Washington by SpokaneTalksOnline.com, which is solely responsible for its content. Ask us a question, recommend a guest, and hear this program again online anytime at SpokaneTalksOnline.com. Thanks for listening.
Ever paid a bill late because you misplaced it? We'll spend all day organizing our closets, but when it comes to money, forget it. Stop the madness. Let's get it together financially. Organizing your money is easy when you have the tools to do it. Plus, you'll reduce frustration and give yourself the assurance that you're prepared for whatever life throws your way. Visit stcumoney.org to get 8 free tips on how to organize your money before you think about tackling those closets.
Last year alone, Avista customers saved over 53 million kilowatt hours of energy. How? By caulking their windows, programming their thermostats, replacing their incandescent light bulbs with LEDs. Simple things, really. But the energy they saved was enough to power more than 4,000 homes for an entire year. Way to save, everyone. Way to save. Find your way to save at avistautilities.com.